And also, not least, from this government, who wish to put up fuel duty and who may well be putting up fuel duty. Let's talk now to Howard Cox, founder of Fair Fuel UK. He's got a great piece in The Sun this morning, a warning to Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor, saying raising fuel tax in next week's budget will be political suicide. And I can also tell you that Howard has joined the ranks of publishers. He's now got his own newspaper. That's it, right there. Not bad. Howard, a very good morning to you.
Thanks, Mike. I don't think I'm in Lord Beaverbrook's sort of
well, listen,
territory.
You've got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, but it's a busy week leading up to tomorrow week in the budget, as you know. And rumour has it, it's classic, isn't it? All the rumours were it's going to go up 12p, but he won't come back. I'm not putting it up 12p. I'm only putting it up 2p.
Yes,
and that's the stupidity of this idiot of a chancellor, an idiot of a government. And what we've got to do is actually stop him doing it. And we can do that. Tomorrow I lead a lot of MPs, including people like Priti Patel, Craig McKinley, and I understand there's about 8 or 9 other MPs. We're handing in a petition of 131,000 of Fair Fuel UK supporters and others who are calling on do not hike fuel duty. I want to cut it, of course, but if we keep it frozen, that will be great progress.
Is he going to argue that he dropped it by 5p back in whatever it was, February, was it February of last year? It all seems, so long ago, when Rishi Sunak was still the Chancellor and Boris Johnson was still the Prime Minister. It's hard to believe it was only a year ago. It feels like about 10 years ago. But I think is he not going to say, I dropped it 5p, so technically speaking, if I put it up by 2p, it's still down by 3?
Well, to be fair, it was his boss, Rishi, who put it down 5p. Jeremy jumped into the post, only recently. And the irony, Mike, and this is really sad, is I've spoken to Jeremy Hunt several times, and he believes in fuel duty should be lower. And yet, when they cross that massive divide into government, they suddenly go the other way and say we've got to fleece people considerably. And the other irony, of course, is Labour are calling to have it frozen too. Right. So that won't look good, will it?
Well, no, Sadiq Khan won't like that. He's going to be very upset. But I mean, it's a bit like the rail union saying none of us want to actually go on strike. You've been on strike for about half the year, but you really don't want to be on strike. The government keeps saying they want to be the party of low tax. They're not the party of low tax. They're now the party of high tax. I don't know where they get the idea that anyone's going to elect them unless they can drop the taxes and drop the fuel duty.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, we're talking about a corporation tax and small businesses from 19 to 25% going up, and potentially fuel duty going up 2p. I mean, can they honestly think that they're of electoral merit to actually, based on those two simple cost of living, absolute annihilation of all our finances, that they stand a chance of winning the next election?
They really must be very, very deluded if that's what they think. But, I mean, as far as driving is concerned, there can be no doubt, can there, Howard? I mean, I was driving around last night in London. It's so badly lit now. You've got cyclists everywhere. You've got ridiculous kind of, high kind of curbs everywhere that you can hit because you don't know they're there. It's really difficult, actually, because it was raining so hard and because it was very dark. The street lighting is absolutely hopeless because they've replaced most of it, and it is literally like driving with one eye shut.
Well, the thing is, there's no long-term road user strategy, conditions, etc. As you quite rightly say, potholes, which impact on cyclists and motorbikes as well. It's not just motor cars suffering those sorts of things. Roads are narrowing, parking spots are smaller, all those sorts of things. No one's actually got a brain actually to sit down with the stakeholders, i.e. 37 million drivers, and say, what do we need to get our country motoring?
Yeah.
Sorry about the pun. But fundamentally, that's the problem. No one's talking to each other. All they do is see drivers as pure cash cows. And that's what they're doing right across the country, everywhere, at local level and national level.
I mean, one thing I suppose we could say that at least is going in the right direction is the actual cost of fuel at the pump. I filled my car up the other day. I was quite surprised at how much it's gone down.
Well, it has gone down. You're quite right. It should be 10 to 20p even lower, and diesel should be 30p lower. That's one of the problems again. And so one of the other things I've been calling for, as you know, is pump watch. We need to stop any of this profiteering. We've seen Shell and BP's huge profits. OK, it's not all coming from petrol and diesel, but it's not a good image, is it? A good, the elephant in the room is fundamentally is that no one actually checks actually how pump prices are arrived at. And hopefully, Jeremy Hunt did ask me for how would pump watch work. So maybe he'll announce that. Maybe that'd be a trade-off. Who knows?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, that these multinational companies want to keep all sorts of businesses separate, even though the whole benefits from all of it. And you would think that sometimes you have to use some of that money that you've made over there to actually subsidise this over here. So you're not actually screwing everybody all the time everywhere.
Well, you're right. I mean, but you only have to go past 2 Shell garages 3 or 4 miles apart. They're not the same price.
No.
Well, it doesn't matter if a penny or even 15p difference. Why are they not the same? It's ludicrous. I mean, when you're going to Sainsbury's across the country, most of the milk is the same price, butter's the same price, cheese the same, bread's the same price. Why is petrol and diesel such a victim of actually what I see as opportunistic profiteering? Yeah,
it's just a bit of a take-your-pick situation, isn't it, really? Tell us a bit about this new paper of yours, Fair Fuel UK, the Fair Fuel UK News. What made you decide to do that, then?
Well, I've done it every year before the budget, and I haven't made such a big thing about it before. But it's arrived this morning on every MP's desk. I should imagine it's gone into a few waste paper bins by some of the left-wingers and the greenies. But it's just making the important point that this whole newspaper really fundamentally looks at the we're being taxed too high. We got opportunistic profiteering. We got a 2030 ban to face, which is totally untenable. And I've already proved that it's going to cost 5 times more than environmental benefits. And then also what I call the cash-grabbing, vitriolic, myopic local authority warfare on motorists, LTNs, ULEZ, congestion charges. And it's getting it across to these people who we elected that they don't realise that how anti-driver their government is. And that's the message it's coming across. And this will be available to supporters if they want to get it. We'll have to charge a bit of postage and packing to send it off, but please do it and then pass it on to as many people as you can.
Absolutely right, because you must be very encouraged to see that Sadiq Khan now regards people like yourself and me as members of some far-right coalition of Nazis to come and take him on with his ULEZ charges that nobody wants.
Well, we're climate change deniers as well, anti-vaxxers, you name it. Everything that challenges the establishment, we are that one person. I know. They don't say that I also drink habitually, like you do, red wine, but it's another matter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. It is extraordinary now how it has got out of hand, so out of hand, that ordinary people are calling me and texting me and tweeting me every single day, telling me how they're not going to be able to afford this new amount of money that they're going to have to pay just to go shopping or just to go and visit their mothers or their elderly relatives in a care home, that people also who work in care particularly are going to be charged a massive amount of money. We know that they don't make very much money. Ordinary working men and women who are tradespeople, working in, plumbing, in building works, all sorts of things. It's an absolute nightmare.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. The point is, even if he does put it up 2p, for the average family car, that's only £1. Yeah. But for a haulage company has got 400 litres in the tank, just work that one out. You're looking at, that's another £8. Who's paying for it? The point is, there's no point in doing it. The simple fact is, the CBR I commissioned a report, proved that if you cut fuel duty, you increase GDP, you lower inflation, you create jobs. It's a no-brainer. What are we doing? And it works immediately too, Mike. It's an acute effect.
Well, listen, that's the same argument I would use for reducing income tax and reducing VAT and all the other taxes that they put on us, because it would actually have people spending more money and stimulating the economy. As you say, a no-brainer. Howard, good luck with it. Thank you very much indeed for the campaign that you are running. Howard Cox put this newspaper of his on the front of every single MP's chair today, which I think is quite an achievement and something that we should be very proud of.